Who was the best NFL MVP since 2010? Buckle up, because we're about to break down some of the most outstanding seasons in recent NFL history. Starting off with a pick that might ruffle some feathers, let's talk about 2017 Tom Brady. Now, before you grab your pitchforks, remember, this is still Tom Brady we're talking about, a legend in his own right. In 2017, Brady was fresh off a Super Bowl win, and at 40 years old, he was still dazzling us with his prowess. He threw for 4,577 yards, averaging 286 yards per game with 32 touchdowns and just 8 interceptions. But here's the thing, in the grand scheme of Brady's career, 2017 wasn't even close to his best. At that time, the MVP race was heating up between Carson Wentz and Alex Smith. Yes, you heard that right, Alex Smith. While Wentz was having a standout year before his injury, and Smith was surprisingly solid, Brady ended up snagging the MVP. It's worth noting that Brady's regular season wasn't as spectacular as his previous years, and his Super Bowl performance against the Eagles, while memorable, isn't included in this MVP discussion. Moving on to 2015, Cam Newton. Newton led the Carolina Panthers to a 15-1 record, which was one of the best seasons in NFL history. He threw for 3,137 yards and 35 touchdowns, and he added another 636 rushing yards and 10 rushing touchdowns. Newton was the face of a Panthers team that dominated the league and was as electrifying as they come. His combination of arm strength and mobility was a nightmare for defenses. Cam made the game look effortless, and his MVP season was a perfect blend of talent and leadership. This was Newton's peak, and he was undeniably the best player in the league that year. At number 13, let's talk about the 2023 MVP, Lamar Jackson. Now, Lamar's MVP win might already be getting some flack, and I get it. There's a bit of a negative vibe around this pick. It feels like we're falling into a Peyton Manning pre-Super Bowl trap where people don't fully appreciate the MVP's accomplishments because of perceived shortcomings, especially when it comes to playoff success. Let's be real. Lamar's 2023 season wasn't exactly mind-blowing in traditional stats. He averaged 230 passing yards per game, 50 rushing yards, and 1.5 touchdowns. He wasn't even close to breaking into the top 5 in passing yards or passing touchdowns for the year, so it's understandable if you're wondering, why is he on this list? Lamar's MVP campaign was about more than just statistics. His impact was undeniable. When it came down to it, he delivered when it mattered most. Case in point, his standout performance against the Dolphins. In that game, Lamar threw for 320 yards and 5 touchdowns, earning a perfect passer rating. That wasn't just a great game, it was a game that solidified his MVP status and showcased his ability to perform under pressure. Now, there's chatter about Lamar's playoff performances, and some argue that this MVP might age poorly because of it, but let's not forget that MVP awards are about recognizing a player's excellence during the regular season, and Lamar Jackson was electric. He made the Ravens' offense tick, and his unique skill set brought a whole new level of dynamism to the game. At number 12, we've got 2015 Cam Newton. Now, Cam is a bit of a lightning rod when it comes to opinions. Out of every MVP on this list, he's probably the least statistically impressive on paper. Cam had the second fewest total passing yards, the 4th most interceptions, and the worst completion percentage among MVP quarterbacks. But stop right there. Ending the discussion here would be a disservice. Cam's impact on the 2015 Panthers was nothing short of extraordinary. The Panthers finished that season with a remarkable 15-1 record, and Cam was the driving force behind that success. His swagger and charisma were off the charts, making every game he played a spectacle. If you want a deeper dive into Cam's 2015 season, I just made a video on the Panthers that you should definitely check out. Moving on to a more recent MVP, let's talk about 2021 Aaron Rodgers. This was a classic example of prime Aaron Rodgers doing what he does best. Rodgers won his second consecutive MVP award and, spoiler alert, he won't be adding any more to his collection. In 2021, he threw for 260 yards per game and over 2 touchdowns while leading the league in passer rating. It was a solid season, but let's be honest, this was just typical Rodgers. He's had plenty of seasons that were far superior to this one. Rodgers was undeniably great in 2021, but his performance was just another day at the office for him. He was at the height of his powers, but there have been many seasons where he outperformed even his MVP-worthy efforts from 2021. It's a testament to how consistently exceptional Rodgers has been throughout his career. Despite not being in his physical prime anymore, Rodgers managed to put up impressive numbers. He didn't lead the league in total touchdowns or passing yards, but he was consistently great across the board. PFF even gave him a stellar grade of 93.3, which was his highest for a season at that point. Rodgers averaged 270 yards and 2.5 touchdowns per game, with an 102.2 passer rating. He guided the top-scoring NFC offense to a 13-win record. This is the kind of quarterback that fans would do just about anything to have on their team. Rodgers' performance in 2021 was outstanding, but his own high standards and previous seasons make it seem almost overshadowed. Rodgers put up jaw-dropping stats, a 122.5 passer rating, the highest ever recorded in a single season. His touchdown percentage, the best in the league by 2%. And get this, he had the lowest interception percentage with a minimum of 500 attempts. To put it simply, Rodgers was playing on a different level. Averaging 309 yards and 3 touchdowns per game, he led the Packers to a 15-1 record. This wasn't just a good season, it was a historic performance that overshadowed even the best seasons from Tom Brady and Drew Brees. Rodgers was so dominant that he had a 3-game stretch where his worst passer rating was 140.3, something no one else, not even Patrick Mahomes, matched in 2023. Sure, the Packers stumbled in the playoffs, but that doesn't tarnish what Rodgers achieved during the regular season. Simply put, his 2011 season was a football fan's dream come true. Now, let's take a step back to 2020, where another Rodgers season almost stole the spotlight. The 2020 MVP award went to Rodgers, and for good reason. Despite some chatter that he might be past his prime, Rodgers proved the doubters wrong. He had one of the most efficient seasons ever, with a 121.5 passer rating, the second highest of all time. He also set a record for the best touchdown-to-interception ratio by any MVP ever at 9.6. Rodgers tossed 270 yards and 3 touchdowns per game, making it almost impossible for defenses to stop him. The Packers went on to dominate most of their games, with Rodgers showing off his incredible skill set game after game. Moving on, let's revisit 2013 Peyton Manning. What a year that was! Manning's 2013 season is often cited as one of the most statistically prolific in NFL history. He threw for a record 5,476 yards and 55 touchdowns, with a passer rating of 115.1. Manning wasn't just playing the game, he was rewriting the record books. His arsenal included Demaryius Thomas, Julius Thomas, Wes Welker, Eric Decker, and a solid running back in Noshan Moreno. Manning's performance was a symphony of precision passing and relentless offensive execution. It's a shame that their Super Bowl appearance didn't end on a high note, because that season was truly one for the ages. Next, let's talk about 2018 Patrick Mahomes. This was the year Mahomes burst onto the scene with a bang. He threw for 5,097 yards and 50 touchdowns, showcasing his incredible arm strength and playmaking ability. Mahomes' performances were spectacular, including a perfect game in Week 1 against the Cardinals and back-to-back 400-yard games. Even without star receiver Tyreek Hill and with a rookie running back, Mahomes carried the Chiefs' offense to new heights, proving he's not just a flash in the pan, but a legitimate superstar in the making. So there you have it, the best MVP seasons of the past decade. Each of these players brought something unique to the table, from Rodgers' efficiency in 2011 to Mahomes' magical 2018 season. Thanks for watching. Please like the video, press the subscribe button, and also drop your thoughts in the comment section.